Hey guys, this is Al. Today is Saturday the 18th of April. It's 9:15. I've been at the shop since about, I don't know, 2 o'clock this afternoon, just doing a bit of work. So this is a general video. It's basically on a bunch of cars that I've been working on, because I haven't been working on one specific car, but I thought I'd give you a quick update on all of them. The best news that I have today is that one of my friends, he was storing a frame machine with a TIG welder, a giant compressor, an English wheel, and a bandsaw all stacked up on it. And he stored it here temporarily. I let him rent the little space outside on the, just another section of the building. But he bought it here temporarily about 5 years ago, and it's just been sitting there since. And it probably takes up about 2 car spaces. So I'm real happy about that. Today we just spent the whole day basically unloading that frame machine so that we could move everything off it and then move the frame machine itself. So I'm pretty happy. He's a Porsche 356 guy, so he restores them for a living, and he's just got some work to do that he needs to get those tools together for. So they're out of here, which makes me very, very happy. I'll give you a quick update on all my cars. Let me turn the camera around quickly, and I'll talk you through all of them. First and foremost, this is where the frame machine used to be. So I was able to tuck this car in. For some reason, I'm still only able to fit the same amount of cars, in the spot with the frame machine out, which is unusual. But I think if I back these cars up and tuck them in, they'll be able to fit. So on the Arnage, what have I done? So really I've been buying a bunch of stuff on this car. So I bought a spare wheel, which basically came in from California a couple of weeks ago. And here it is over here next to my wheel bunches. So it's getting ready to go in, but I need to figure out the whole trunk floor situation, because if you remember, the trunk floor was cut. So I need to take care of that. I also bought a side airbag, and we were starting to work on that, but things went a little bit sideways because I can't get the doors open unless I figure out the alarm system. The doors won't open, and if the doors don't open, then I just can't, I can't install the side airbag, and I can't remove the seat belts. I was also planning on taking the seat belts out, because the driver's side seat belt deployed, and so did the back seat belt. So I need to get those rebuilt. I do have a guy that will rebuild them, so I just need to get them out so that he can reload the springs and put new. I don't know what they are, like almost like a shotgun shell thing that fires when the seat belts deploy. So he needs to reset those, but unless I get the doors open, and we can't do any work on it. So it's just been sitting there. But yeah, there it is. There's a side curtain airbag. I got a hell of a deal on it. It came from California, I think, for about, I don't know, $100 shipped. So can't really complain. The other thing that I've been working on is the Brooklands. So as you can see, the Brooklands, the dash is out on it. So it's all out, and that's the alarm module. So a couple of weeks ago, I was speaking to one of the guys at Intro Car, and I told him that I was having this problem with the alarm system on this car, and he sold me this this deal. It's basically a module, a small module that's supposed to go in the trunk with 2 fobs. He said that basically by using this thing, it bypasses the alarm module and solves your problem. Unfortunately, the alarm module on this car is not the right. Well, I mean, what he sold me wasn't that this is the right module for the car, but what he sold me was the wrong item. So I'm going to have to send that back. But this is the right module. It seems to be functioning fine, but I don't have any key fobs, and as I don't have any key fobs, I'm kind of stuck. If you unplug this module, the car won't start, the courtesy lights won't go on, the alarm won't go on. So it does a lot more than just just the alarm. I guess it's built into the immobilizer and everything else with it. But in any case, the dash is out because we had to get to this module, and I'm right now in two minds about what to do. So I did contact John Bolin, who sent me to another company out in the US, because I guess he doesn't he lets somebody else deal with the US customers. Spoke to the gentleman, super nice guy, and he said that he can, if I send him the keys and the module, he can get it reprogrammed and send me a send me back the module and a set of key fobs so that I can get it working. But I can also do that myself if I bought my own tool. If I bought the Bentley Assist Master Check tool. So, and I can also do this car, the Arnage, if I bought that tool. So, I'm kind of, do I have a problem with the alarm module? I don't think so. I think the alarm module just works fine. I think it's just that I don't have the key fobs, and that's the problem. So, this will basically fix my problem on the Arnage if I bought the tool, the Master Check, and it'll fix my problem on this car as well, and probably a whole bunch of other issues that I need to figure out on these cars as well. I still got the Continental, and a couple of other cars I could use that scan tool for. The only problem with that is that those scan tools cost a small fortune. So a new one, I think, costs around $4,300 if you buy it through, the UK suppliers, and if you buy it locally, it's kind of like the cheapest I can see it is through the dealerships. It's around $5,500. So it's actually more expensive, in the US to buy it from a US source. Probably take longer to ship as well. So I'm at a dilemma. I have been speaking to a guy on eBay that has one, but he wants around $3,000 for it, and I don't want to buy a used one for $3,000 when I can buy a new one for $4,400. It doesn't make sense. I did speak to a guy in the UK. I almost bought one a couple of weeks ago, but I missed out on the deal, and that would have been around $1,600, and to me that's really a fair price. I mean, that's what I'd want to spend on a scan tool. I mean, bear in mind that you can buy the top of the line Autel 908 for about that price. So and it'll work on any car, including Continentals and the modern Bentleys and the modern Rolls Royces. It just doesn't cover the Arnage and these crew cars. So that's kind of my dilemma, and I'd like to buy the tool, but if I don't buy the tool, then I'll just send the stuff off to that gentleman in the US to get the ECU reprogrammed with the right keys, and he'll sell me the key fobs, and I'll be happy. So what else? So I don't know whether I mentioned we did some suspension work on the Corniche. So the big ball joints, the ones that screw into the low control arm, we had those replaced. I ordered those from Intracar a couple of weeks ago, but I'm still getting a knock on the suspension. So I guess maybe the shock mounts are bad, or something else that's going on over there. But it's definitely not the ball joints anymore, because we fixed that. And it continues to be a great car to drive. It just needs a couple of maintenance. Going back to the Brooklands, sorry about this. One thing I did do is I did pull the dash out, so the dash is out the car right now, and you can see that it's in bad shape. So I'm going to take this opportunity to remove this, take this dash and take it to a trim shop over here in Dallas that I've heard really good things about from friends of mine who are in the trade. So they've said some good things about these people, and I'm going to take this dash over to them so that they can get it sorted out. Another thing on the Brooklands is I pulled out this module, which see that it's UT12668 TCM battery module. So the battery's hosed. The module itself is all crusty from battery acid. Now I was doing some reading on this. Actually, this is probably the one and only time that the Rolls-Royce Owner Club forum has really kind of come through for me. Not the forum, but somebody wrote a technical article in the Flying Lady, and what he said is that that module is designed to work with the 4L80E, and what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to learn your driving habits. If you know, as you drive, right? A lot of cars do that. You know, they start adapting. The transmission adapts to your driving habits. So this is what that module does. And the reason that there's batteries in that module is because it'll store it in memory, you know, while the car's turned off. Apparently, and as you guys may know, this Brooklands always had a limp home condition. So I suspect that this may be the issue for the limp home condition. And from what I understand, you can replace the batteries and you can actually have this module rebuilt. But from the Flying Lady article, you know, from reading that, it basically said that if you just disconnect it, the transmission will automatically go back into default mode, and it will basically drive in a default setting. So it won't learn your driving habits, but it will just drive like a regular 4L80E, which is fine by me. So I'm going to try that once I figure out the whole key situation and the alarm situation. But for now, the car sits where it sits. So last week, some of you may noticed, I put an ad out to sell this car. This is my Jaguar XJ12. That deal kind of went sideways because you know, I had some interest in the car from a bunch of people, but when I looked at the title, my buddy who sold me the car dated the title and wrote my name on it. So I can't sell this car to anybody. I have to basically register the car in order to sell it on to the next person. So as a result, you know, I'm working on it. I thought, well, if I'm gonna register it and spend money on it, then I may as well drive it and enjoy it. So the last couple of days it's been on the lift, and we've been working through some of the issues. One of the shock absorbers was completely broken. I don't know how, but it was completely snapped down the shaft, so on this side. So we replaced the shock absorber. Wasn't too difficult a job. There's a really smelly fuel leak, that smell, that I need to figure out, and I think it's basically the fuel tank sender seal. I had that problem on my 94 XJS, so I'm going to get that ordered and replace it as well, because obviously it's a problem and it smells. There was a couple of hose clamps that were loose on the coolant, so it was leaking a little bit of coolant, but it wasn't overheating or anything else like that. It was just a couple of coolant leaks. And the previous owner mentioned that the drive shaft has a noise, so I'm going to order a new center support. He actually just rebuilt the drive shaft, and you get underneath it, it's, you know, looks brand spanking new. But they used this brand of center support that supplies Jaguar now, called URO parts, and just Google them. You know, that's all I'm going to say. Google URO parts and see their reputation. I have to replace those and find an alternative, and may go to the dealer and get the right part. Apart from that, I mean, I really like this car. I've always been fond of the XJ40. This is called an XJ81 actually, but it's a these things came out when I was, well, that body style car came out when I was 13 years old. It came out in 1986 in the UK, and to me these cars were like a revelation. I mean, they just looked so different to anything else that was out there. You know, it just looks like such a different car to the old Series 1, 2 and 3, which kind of, you know, looked the same forever. And you know, some people say, you know, don't like them. They say that they don't feel like real Jaguars or anything else like that, but I really like the way that they're put together. You know, they have that feel when you open and shut the door. That kind of feels the same as a, you know, it feels the same as that 6.3. You know, it has that kind of mechanical feel to it. You know, that you really don't see in you know, even the 126 Mercedes didn't have that kind of mechanical feel to it. So, you know, Mercedes lost that after, I think, the 116, but this car has that kind of feel. It's a modern car. And you know, I just remember these cars being so beautiful when they were new. You know, I just thought they were glorious. This car obviously needs a paint job, and we peeled a bunch of V12 stickers, and I don't know, there was a whole bunch of like stickers on this car. There's this piece of chrome trim that shouldn't be there either. I got no idea why somebody put a chrome trim there, and there's another chrome trim underneath it, which is a factory one. So it kind of looks a bit ridiculous. But needless to say, I mean, I have to register it, which means I have to drive it. Or I have to put it in my name. I have to pay taxes on it, and inspect it and do all that stuff. And if I'm going to do all that stuff, then I'm going to drive it through the summer. I'm just going to enjoy it. I got to tuck away my 280 because it has no AC, and I'll just drive this, and enjoy it. So that's the quick update on this one. What else? What else are we doing? So 6.3. So that's the other one that we're working on. As you can see, we're literally working on this right now. So what have we done on this thing? We've been just doing a little bit of electrical testing on this thing. There was a whole bunch of wires that were disconnected. It wasn't working properly because, I don't know, I mean, it was how I got the car. Even before I pulled the engine out and replaced it, there was a whole bunch of electrical gremlins going on with this car. The ignition switch wouldn't start the engine, the fuel pump wouldn't run, the alternator wasn't charging, the wires were all messed up there. So now we've wired up the alternator correctly, it's charging. All of these relays are now put back together where they should be. It's got the wrong battery on it. It's got actually the battery for that Continental, that one over there. But the batteries are, everything's charging right now. It's behaving itself. What we're planning on doing next is we're going to relocate the fuel line, because now I have a filter that's in the back of the car where the pump is. So I'm going to relocate that fuel line and put it, move it like a little bit away from where the headers are, because obviously it's a fire hazard. And there used to be a steel line there, and somebody cut the steel line and replaced it with a rubber line, which is just terrible. Terrible idea. So we're gonna relocate that and put it somewhere else. Maybe I'm not sure exactly how to route it, but I think it needs to come up over here and kind of loop around. Come up over here and loop around the front. But I haven't quite figured that out yet. Once we get that done, we'll start working on the AC system over here. The kid that works for me, he's kind of an electrical whiz, and he's really good with AC systems. So he kind of builds these modern AC systems on these old Mercedes, like the 123 and the likes of those. And he just does a fantastic job. I mean, his old 123's 300 CD would blow snowballs running 134. He custom made. He ordered a parallel flow condenser, and he custom made the hoses and everything else like that. So I want him to work on my TE, because I want it to eventually have AC, and we need to probably find a parts car, because the HVAC box is different to a car that doesn't have AC at all. So when he gets around to that, we'll try to document some of the work. But that's really it. So we're working on that. We did some work on the headlight. The headlight wiring was not working. We end up using a spare. This was actually missing, but we found a spare one, and so we're using this multifunction switch, and we're able to get everything working. So that's a positive. Now it's just a matter of button everything together on the inside of the car. Windows still don't work, electric windows still don't work, so we've got to figure that out. But there's a lot of electrical gremlins on this car, and we'll work through them. The amazing thing, though, is the front end, which is off that 69 car that I bought, the fire damage car. The airbags and everything else is in perfect shape, so that front of the car always stays up. It just stays up forever. The back will sag after a while, but as soon as you crank the car, as soon as you fire it up, I mean, the back end just comes up. It comes up like a Citroen. It's real quick. So, I think this car is getting close to being finished, or being, drivable. Like you can actually drive it on a, 10-15 mile shakedown, which makes me happy. So that's really it. Everything else is kind of humming along. I sold the other 6.3 that was parked over there, so that's why you see the Azure parked where it is with a pile of crap sitting on top of it. But yeah, so that 6.3 is now gone, which makes me happy, because it makes you know, the guy who bought it has wanted this car for years and years and years, and you know, we've talked about it a bunch of times, and I made a new car purchase, so I just wanted to basically use that money to pay for that car. So I told him that, you know, it's time, if he wants to buy it, or otherwise I've just got to sell it, you know, on eBay or whatever. And yeah, he bought it, so I'm happy he's got it. He's a local guy. I've known him for about 10 years. He's actually helped me work on that car in the past, and you know, I think he's gonna do well with it. So he's always been into the 108, 109 cars, and that's pretty much how I met him. And you know, best of luck with him on that car. I didn't do enough with it, so I'm kind of grateful that he's working on it. No update yet on the Silver Shadow, and that's because just other cars are occupying my time, but I will get on it. Really, you know, there's really not much more to do on it. I just need to make sure that the brakes are all plumbed in and cleaned up, and put mufflers on it, and you know, fix that downpipe situation, which I can probably fix using that car over there, the white one, and you know, I'll be done. So that's it, guys. That's really, you know, a full update on everything that I've been doing while everybody else is going through the pandemic. And I hope that everybody else is keeping safe. And you know, if you have a lead on a master check, and if you know anyone who's, let me know, because I am really interested in buying one. And you know, but you know, either I buy a new one or I buy one at a used one at a reasonable price. I don't want to buy a used one at an unreasonable price. So that's kind of where I am. All right, well, thank you very much, guys. Take care.